All right, so let's talk about generic traders charts. So there are a couple ways that you can get to the charts. So when you have your quote widget open or your trading matrix, what you would do is you'll just click on your options there, and then you can open up a chart that way. Also, I showed this in the overview video, but you can, if you have a watch list, if you're using the watch list, you can also open up your charts from the watch list. So those are going to be some of the easiest ways to open up a chart. You can also just do it the regular way by going to your trading widgets and opening up a chart widget. And then you can put your symbol in here. I'm going to open up a M&Q. Once you have that in there, you can also add in any indicators that you want. So let me say, I'm just going to put just for this example, I'm going to put a moving average in here. So for this example, I'm going to pick this simple moving average. And we're going to stick with the defaults. I'm going to stick with the default settings, click save just to show this. And then I'll click save there. So once my new chart is open, I can open it up and I can see more into it. Now let's go over a couple of your options here. There are some like quick select time frames you have at the top left. You can also see the symbol for the chart. And if you want to change this, all right, you can rename it if you want to there. You got your settings where you can change your bar period. This is your time frame settings. You can change the bar period. You got some different options here. Let's say if I want to use a tick, and let's just say if I want to use a 1024 tick, you can tell it how many bars you want to load. 500 is good enough for me. I can change that there. Right. So next to that, you have the ability to trade from the chart. This is how you enable chart trading. You just click on this button and these trading settings will pop up. You just have some basic trading options up here. You can also put your strategy up here. So if you have a strategy, you can click on this and select your strategy. For this example here, I have this test MES strategy. I'm just going to use it just to show what it does. Put use strategy. And so now every time I place a trade on the chart, it'll use the strategy, right? So if I want to turn that back off, I just click that button again. So moving on over to the right, you have your sync button here, and then you have your crosshairs. You can turn that on and off. And to kind of show you what this sync button does. So you see here on this chart, I have the candlesticks and then I have the MACD down there. This is just the default stuff that comes in the example workspace. So like if I move one of these charts around, they'll stay in sync. Even if I like zoom in and out with the time frame, it'll stay in sync. But if I turn that off, now if I move this around, they're not in sync anymore, right? If I want to put them back in sync, all I got to do is turn it back on and then move it, and then they'll be back in sync, right? So going back to this chart, you got your crosshairs like I mentioned, and then you have your drawing tool over here. For right now in this version, you have three different drawing tools to use. Pretty standard stuff. One thing I do want to mention, once you use one of these drawing tools, for this example, I'm going to use the retracement lines. Let me draw that on there so we can see it. I may have to move my window around for a change to take place or for it to show up. It's one of those little small glitches that I'm sure will be fixed in an updated version. Or if I go in here, if I want to make changes to this drawing tool that I've already have on my chart, I just click back on the drawing tools button there, and then I click on the drawing tool that I want to make changes to. And then I can change these around. Let's say I want to add a 168, I don't know. And then I want to change the color to, let me change it to orange. Go ahead and choose that. And then we're going to save it. So you can see it doesn't show my changes right away. But one thing that I can do to get it to show, if I open this chart window, if I maximize the widget, then it'll change. Then it'll show me the changes. So let me go ahead and minimize this back. All right, and if I want to delete that, I just go back to the drawing tools options there, and then I can just delete it right there. Might have to move it around to get it out the way. All right. So then you have the ability to zoom in and then to zoom out. basic stuff. You have some visual settings there that you can change the colors of the widget, different elements of the widget. So I just want to use that purple. Say that so now we can see what that, how, you know, what kind of, how that looks. Do something like that. You can just, you know, you can play with it and make it look however you want to make it look. And let's say you want all your charts to look like this for whatever reason, you do have the option to save your settings as the default, right? All right, so moving on to the indicators at the very top. You can open it up and you can add in more indicators. Let's just say, for example, I want to add an RSI. I can add that in there. I'm just gonna, for this example, I'm just gonna leave everything at default. You got some more options that you can change there, but I'm gonna leave it at default. And I can also change my chart symbol here if I want. Let's just say I want to change this to MES. I can do so there. This settings button here is for formula, but if you click on it, really it just gives you the opportunity to another place to make changes to your charts, like the time frame. Then you can customize how your candlesticks look. You can change the chart type. If you don't want to use candlesticks anymore, you can use something else. You know, one of these other options here. Let's go with that one just for this example. You can also have some output changes. There's a lot of different options in here that gives you to be able to customize it. Click save. Let me just click save so we can see this. And now we can see all the changes that we made. And then if you want to, let's say I don't want this RSI anymore. If I want to move it, I can go ahead and delete this part of the chart. So if I don't want this chart anymore, I can go ahead and close that down. So this trash can button is for anything inside of the chart widget, any charts inside of the chart widget. And if you just don't want the whole chart widget anymore, you'll click the X of it to close the widget, and it'll close that widget down. So for this, let me go ahead and go back to indicators, and I'm gonna add that RSI back, and we're gonna save that. So the reason that I brought this up, I'm gonna go ahead and open everything up, is you can also make changes to the layout inside of the chart widget. So let's just say I want to do something like this. So let's just say I want to have my chart set up like this for whatever reason. There are several ways that I can customize my chart so it'll look however I want it to look, right? So those are some of the settings and the features of the chart for this version. In another video, we're going to talk about trading from the chart.